And hello one and all, welcome to another session of Jusatoon and an Aurora. We're on the tram. We missed our stop at the spaceport I think, and we're heading back to town, or we've done the loop. We've done it. I think I've been on the loop a couple of times now. Right, is the spaceport good? So we're at the space station. I've actually been here already today, and the game crashed to desktop while I was, or crashed to start screen again while I was checking on something else, and so we had to do the run again. Gets a bit frustrating at times when that happens, but so we're going to expedite our vehicle because I have a feeling it may need expediting because it's over in space. Well, destroyed apparently. There you go. So once it gets to expedite, we'll expedite and we'll get out of here. And then once that's done, we'll have a look at the missions and see what missions are available. Still want to avoid criminal activity, so at the moment it'll either be delivery missions, mining, find the lost person, or cargo hauling. I don't think the Aurora in its base components can cope with much more than that. Yes, I have upgraded the weapons a little bit. I have added 2 attritions, and I've taken up the ballistics and added what hangar are we? We are hangar number 3. And I've also replaced or added 2 scatterguns as well. I think I prefer the attritions actually, mainly because they seem to have a really fast rate of fire, and as they overheat or as they get hotter, they actually deal out more damage. And because they're energy based, you don't run out of ammunition, which for me is a godsend. So that's my preference. Both weapons I've got, so I've got the 2 attritions on the nose, the attrition size 1s on the nose, and then we've got on the wing we've got the Hurston Dynamic scatterguns as well. At least I believe it was scatterguns. I'll double check that in a second. No other component on the ship has been upgraded. Oh, and we've also got the 212 rack on the roof, so instead of carrying 2 size 1 missiles, we've got 1 size 2 missile. But other than that, the base components, the shields, the power plant, and the coolers are stock. And at the moment those components are the only components we can change, apart from the weapons and the weapon racks. Okay, so if you're new to the game and you get into your ship, Arta will bring up all the components. You could actually go through and do things like turn on power, so you'll have a power on, power off button, or flight ready, and then you could turn on your engines or turn off your engines, etc. But really it is a lot easier just to do press the R key once you're sitting in your seat. I want to leave the hanger, so I can do it two ways. I can either press F, move my key over to where I've got the Area 18 landing surfaces, and click on the little speech indicator, and that will actually start the process. Or I can go into my Mobiglass, F1, click down on the com link, click on Friends, and click on Area 18 landing surfaces, and that will usually start us off. F1 then closes our Mobiglass. Now when we start off, we're actually perfectly lined up for a takeoff. Easiest way to take off in Star Citizen in a hangar like this, you can hear the sound of the hangar moving and opening up. At stop, the gates are open, we press our space bar and we take off. Press N, and N raises our landing gear. We'll just keep our nose level, and that's just using our mouse up and down to do that. And you can see we have now taken off. Scroll my mouse bar up, and scroll my mouse wheel up, sorry, and I take it up to the top as far as I can. And once I've done that, what I do is I press C, and C is cruise control. And once I do that, my ship automatically starts to accelerate and go forward. To get out of atmosphere, I then go up to 90-degree angle, or around a bit thereabouts, and my ship will continually accelerate, and I will leave atmosphere in that way. I usually find once I get up to about 90 or 87, it starts to tilt and pitch. So I usually go at about 86, 87 degrees, and then I don't have to worry about pitching. I just keep it steady, and that generally keeps me on the straight and narrow. If I need to roll a little bit, my Q and E keys will actually do a little bit of roll, so I can actually trim my ship that way. So we can press F4. F4 gives us an external view. Initially we're lined up from the rear of a ship. Easy way to have a look around at your ship. If you hold Z down, Z is free look, and then I can just scroll my mouse and I'm just looking around the ship as I like. I can take my fingers off the mouse, leave it as it is, take my hand off the Z key, and it'll just hold that view. If I then press F4, it takes me back to my pilot view. First person view. If I go back to F4, it's going to put me back into that same view I had previously from my camera. And so this is a nice way. You can actually arrange your cameras in certain ways. There are advanced camera controls. That was just a very simple one. And once you've got those advanced camera controls, you can actually get some really nice footage from distance and close up of your character at different angles, and of your ships as well. So you can hear the engines have stopped. We're basically at full speed now, so we're not really generating thrust. Over here we've got our altitude, so we're at 60,000 meters. And Arcor has an altitude of about 100 kilometers, I think, from memory. Over here we've got our how much thrust we're generating per minute, so we're now at maximum altitude within space. So here's our thrust indicator. We're not generating thrust now, we've just got our engines pummeling out, and we're travelling at 971 meters per second. Okay, we've got our G-save, basically our abilities not to black out on. A lot of people do take those off. I tend not to because I'm not that great a pilot. You can also decouple your ship if you decouple. The key for that, and you can see this is a decouple symbol here just underneath the gear. Decoupling, what it does is it means that I will keep going in the direction I'm going. I can spin my ship around and I'll keep doing that. Usually what I do if I've been flying for a while and I want to get some cheap hydrogen, I will decouple. So I'm going to do that, and then what I do is I press F, and then I also turn my engines off, and you'll see my hydrogen fuel drop to 0 because my engines will be off, but my speed is actually going to remain the same. And I'll do that for a few minutes, and then when I come back my hydrogen has usually increased in several percent. So let's do that while we talk about upgrades or possible upgrades I could do with this ship. So the engines are now off, and so we will just keep traveling in that same position we were before. So we do our ship, we can see Australis drifting away in the background, our engines are off, and we are just traveling at that same speed we had, which is 971 kilometers per second or meters per second away from Australis. So looking at our ship, we've done this a few times. So first thing you look when you do F1 and you get this screen is you've got your personal details. So your current balance, your crime stat, your heart rate, your health, how much oxygen you've got available to you as well, and that generally is that screen. I've got my comlink which brings up the community chat, and I can then read what people are saying. I've got my equipment manager, so I could actually take off my suit, change the equipment I'm wearing or carrying, change the equipment I'm carrying on my side. So at the moment we're carrying our mining tool, which is this tool here, or our ProBite multi-tool, and we've got the mining attachment onto that. I've also got spaces on my suit for med pens and oxygen pens, and also for throwables. Now I'm not carrying any grenades, and I don't have any med pens or oxygen pens on the Pembroke armor. Now the Pembroke armor does cost 10,500 Alpha UEC, same as the Novikov armor does. Both of those armors are quite expensive, but one of the things with these is these two are actually called undersuits, and the beauty about these is that they've both got the backpack, so you can actually store things in your back, but the Novikov armor gives you protection from a temperature rating for extreme cold, minus 225 degrees Celsius, up to 75 degrees Celsius. It also is basically heavy armor. It gives 40% damage reduction if people are shooting at you. The Pembroke armor is reverse. It does the same amount of damage protection, has the same carrying capacity, but it protects you from minus 75 degrees temperature up to 225 degrees temperature. And so that is the key features of those two suits. In terms of the Lamont undersuit, which we have here, this is one that was given at Christmas, or as a result of the IEA, I can't remember which, but this one only gives me a 10% damage reduction. It doesn't give any advantage in atmosphere from extreme heat or extreme cold. The Odyssey 2, which is the base suit that everyone gets when they start the game, has a 10% damage reduction, and also protects you from minus 40 degrees Celsius up to 70 degrees Celsius. That is actually the best undersuit compared to all, apart from the Novikov and the Pembroke. All the others do generally minus 30 to 60 degrees Celsius. So that's those. With every undersuit though, you do need to wear your helmet, and so you've got your Odyssey 2 helmet, and your Pembroke and Novikov. These other helmets here are, again, this one here came with the other armour that we got around Christmas, and this one here was a free one that CIG gave to celebrate the Carrack being the ship of the year at the IAE. You can also have a list of your weapons. I currently have a sidearm big arc-light pistol is equipped. Now that's a standard pistol you get when you create a character. And you also have your base outfit. At the moment, the only outfit that's showing that clothing that can be seen is the eyewear, and the reason for that is simply because I'm wearing the undersuit. If I was to take the undersuit off, then it would show me the clothing I could wear. Now, you've seen this one before. This one is the sky map. We use this for navigation purposes. I'll put my mouse in the middle so that the planet zooms into that, and we scroll back, and eventually, if it's not playing up, we get Corp showing up, but it looks like at the moment it's playing up. This is our money trader. This enables us to actually receive and give money to other players. Also receive money from, and also give money to other players. This is our list of missions, so we can see we've got a whole pile of those delivery missions. You can see that this one is wanting me to pick them up from Walla. This is actually a pretty good one, because you can see we're on Walla, 2 of them are on deliveries to Walla, and one's a private landing pad on ArcCorp. So I think we will actually accept that one, because it's a fairly good one to do, and it tells you we're going to be heading to Walla mining area 61. So we will accept that. Now, a lot of people will also do, if people have got bigger ships or people want to grab more, they could actually pick up a whole pile of those. So, you could look at the next one. This one here, again, is a pickup on Walla, 2 deliveries to Walla, and 1 to the mineral reserve on Lyria. This one, again, pick up the Walla and then deliver it to those places. This one here, we're picking up parcels from several places, and we're taking them to Walla. This one, again, we're picking up from Lyria and Walla, and then taking to Lyria. And the last one, pad on ArcCorp, so we're picking parcels up from 3 locations and taking them to that one. And you've seen us do one of those missions before, quite easy to do. They just take, I think, a little bit of time, and the danger that I find with those is that if a game crashes and you're midway between a mission, you lose the progress you've made on that mission. The maintenance mission, this one is just wanting us to remove some bio waste. Bounty hunter is basically this one is supposedly hunting down an NPC, I think, and then the next one will be hunting down a player. But to do these, it costs 500 to actually get accredited. And our mercenary mission we've got available. One is remove claim jumpers. Way too difficult for this little ship to do. And seize narcotics, and again, I believe way too difficult for this little ship to do. Personal missions, we've already got I do have, apparently, these are the ones I've still got, so I've got a light touch. These are help resupply the drug farm. This one is find a clearance sale on an old dead sapphire. The dusters are looking for a runner to grab a box of stuff for them, and there's likely to be people there to fight. So yeah, and that one's worth 9,000 for EC. These being personal are probably, and given that it's private sender and no names, these are probably criminal missions as well. Again, not listed, and they want us to clear something out. So this is probably a murder. They want us to move the body that's been put in the barrel type thing and get rid of it, or move some merchandise that's going to indicate that they're criminals. The last one, again, similar types of things, criminal justice. Mine with taking service one, bit opposite of claim jumpers. This is actually forcing others to leave, and that's those missions. And you can see the accepted missions. We've got that delivery mission we've already accepted, and we've also got the call to arms mission. And that's basically it. But the one I do want to look at is our vehicle. And so we click on our little ship. We go to our Aurora. Now we can't actually do much more. But one thing I can show you here is you can see how the missile is selected and how up here the missile is red. And so one thing you can do is when you're looking at your ship, you can actually see what item is being pointed to from your screen when you're looking at the mobi-glass, or using your mobi-glass to look at your ship and check things out. It can be useful when you're doing things. I find, however, if I'm looking at a big ship, a Carrack or an 890 or something like that, because the ships are so big and the weapons are so small in comparison, they don't look as red. They're really small and hard to see. So it's not, while it is useful for certainly small ships, it is more difficult for larger ships. Propulsion, we have a size 1 EOS drive. It is a C-grade industrial civilian, I think, from memory. Our systems, we've got the Hydrocell, civilian C, the Roughneck, which I think is I think these are all civilians C-grade components. So I've got 2 size 1 shields, 1 size 1 power plant, and 2 size 1 coolers. Now the way coolers work is coolers have a pool of cooling energy, and so they will distribute that out to systems that need it. The systems, the power plant, the shields or weapons, they all generate heat over time. So if they're being used, they will generate some heat. Once they reach with weapons, once the weapons reach to about 300 degrees, then they start drawing coolant to keep themselves cool. And the weapons will have an amount that they can draw at any one time. Now that amount they draw, while it will do the job, is generally less than what they're generating when they're firing. And so you want to manage your firing. If your weapons get too hot, they actually shut down. If you end up trying to draw too much coolant for all your systems, then you start to have heating problems. And so one thing we can do with this little ship to make it better is actually upgrade those components to size 1 grade A, and then there's a whole series of different ones we can do. I was looking at these types of components on my other account last night. I was looking at the Hurricane and looking at how good the Hurricane actually is. I've heard a lot of complaints about the Hurricane recently, how poor it is and how weak it is, and how a whole pile of things like that. But one of the things, probably my only real complaint about the Hurricane is, unlike the Hornet, where if you don't have someone in the turret seat, the turret guns are slave to the pilot, and the pilot can still fire them. In the Hurricane, you don't get that bonus. You don't get the ability to use the guns if you don't have a gunner, and so you actually do need to have a second person fly that ship or be your gunner while you fly the ship. And that's probably the biggest thing I dislike about that. But I was flying it around last night with Trey, and it was great. It was really nice, and we were chewing through stuff. We were getting out a bit of beating as well, but we had also upgraded the ship a bit. So we'd changed the shields, we'd increased the power plant, we had increased the coolers, but we still didn't put the top of the line in there. So there were other areas we could do to actually improve the life the likelihood of surviving in our hurricane. But we did quite well. It was, you know, the hurricane completed, with 2 of us completed the claim jumper mission, which was half a dozen or a dozen turret platforms and 4 or 5 prospectors trying to defend the claim. And the turrets were a bit tough, but we tended to just rip them apart with the lasers. And had we been using the ballistics, we'd have possibly run out of ammo, but I'm sure the ballistics would have made short work of the things we're fighting as well. So they certainly killed things a lot quicker than the lasers, but in an extended fight we'd have run out of ammo rather than not having to worry about that. So that's one of the reasons I removed the ballistics on the Aurora from the beginning. I know that I take too long to kill things and fight. I'm not a great pilot, I'm not a great dogfighter, but if I've got energy weapons, it's one less thing that I have to worry about, and that's why I prefer the energy weapons. Anyway, having done that, it's probably now time to leave this, and we'll leave this screen, and we'll have a look. We'll restart up our engines and see what our fuel our hydrogen fuel is at. So F1 to close, press F, go down to turn our engines on. So where's our engines there? Turn our engines back on, and we've got 100% hydrogen again. Alright, so we're going to work out where we're going to go. So we're going to activate our star map, and you can see there's our star map, and I'll just bring this down to the middle. So what I'm doing here is, just because when I move the mouse and change where the mouse is, the star map actually moves as I'm shrinking back to center based on where the mouse is. So I was just kind of center it a little bit more. So we're currently somewhere around ArcCorp. In fact, we're still in ArcCorp's airspace, as you can see from the little green line that's there. If I look behind us, we'd probably see the planet there in all its glory as well. We're going to stay in ArcCorp, so we're going to zoom in on ArcCorp. And I think what we're going to want, because we needed to pick those boxes up, and we were picking them up from 61, I think it was. Let's just double check that. So we're picking up from mining area 61. So now we just scroll around, find mining area 61. There it is there. Double click. We've got it selected. Set our route. And now we've got the quantum jump set in. You can see the triangle started here. That's telling me which direction my jump point is, so we can now target that. Okay, but I'm going to go to F4, the outside view, and we're just going to scroll around, and you can see ArcCorp is still below us, significantly smaller than it was, but still there. Go back into our ship, press B to start up our quantum drive. That was one in the startup there, it was a bit slow. I had to tip that a few times to get that going. Oh, the line moved off. Oh, sorry, it was looking at the stream and got distracted. Hey Triton, lovely to see you. I finally got the chat up, which is why I moved off the target of my quantum jump last. And g'day Trey, how's it going, mate? Right, so to do our jump again, we press B to power up our quantum drive. Once it finishes spooling, we press B again. The different quantum drives we have will actually increase quicker. So if you have a military quantum drive, it will spool up really quickly. So I think the military size 1 grade A will spool up in like 1.5 seconds. But when you jump, it chews up a lot of fuel. Whereas this one, run of the mill, it spools up slowly, but it also doesn't chew up a lot of fuel. Racing ones are similar to them, you know, they also chew up a lot of fuel, but they're quick. Industry ones will take a lot longer to go, but they're also very robust and don't use a heap of fuel either. And it's just a matter of picking and choosing which quantum drive you want that suits your needs. Stealth ones are actually quite unique because what they do is they seem to take forever to spool up, and they drop you further away from your target than the others seem to. But that does mean that you don't, because you're coming quiet, you know, it does work as being kind of stealth in that regard. Now, because I'm not tracking my mission, I'm going to go in and I'm going to track my mission, and you'll see normally one of the things I do is I do B, and that'll show me where Arcot 61 is. But if I go into my glass, go to my mission, go to my accepted missions, and we've got this one here, and if I track this, what I now see is I now see the location where I want to pick up my parcels from. And so that saves me having to have my quantum drive up. If you're doing missions, it is a really nice way to just speed things up for you. And we crashed into the land because we were going to so. So unfortunately, that's me not paying attention to what I'm doing. So we're back at Arcor yet again. And we'll do it again. I didn't think I was so low. So let's try it one more time. One more time for the dummies. Ooh. Oh, that's not necessarily good. Not good when the world doesn't spawn properly for you, is it? I'll have to go back and watch that video. I didn't think I was that low to have crashed into the Earth or into the planet or the moon. But I'm not going to say I wasn't, because I was not really I'll be honest, I wasn't paying attention to my altitude. And when you do that, it's a guarantee that you're going to pay the price. But when you pay the price, you go back to your last spawn place. Again, unfortunately, we're in Artcorp. The wonderful view, we left at night time, it's now daytime. We're going to run because I've been here twice already today. Once from a crash, and it took me to desktop, and yeah, which was before streaming, and the one just then. Yes, that was a jump down the stairs. Oh, come on, make the train, make the train, make the train. Come on, come on, come on. We can do it, we can do it, we can do it. Oh, yes. There are sometimes running is a bonus. And that was probably the only time I can think of where it has been a bonus. The Hurricane was a pretty good flight last night, wasn't it, Trey? Not sure if you're still watching the channel or getting caught up in your own org stuff at the moment. But I was surprised at how nice it was overall. It was pretty good. Well, watch where you're going, boy. What happens when I try and pay attention to a chat? Walk in the corners. Shocking. I'll do a bit of running. So the way I'm running, I've just got my finger on the W key for forward movement and the shift key, and that will turn me into an automatic run. So we're going to our ship. Our ship is going to be destroyed because we're at Walla, and there it is because we blew up. So we'll claim our ship. Now I've got a 2 minutes and 15 second wait, or I can pay 336 alpha UEC. I will pay that, which is unfortunately I think 1,000 alpha UEC I have paid today due to glitches or other things. So it does happen, and you just, at these times, you just suck it up. Okay, so if we're done, we can go back and we can now call our ship, and I'm assuming we're going to be in platform number 3 or hangar number 3. Okay, we're going to run because, you know, time's wasting and I don't really want to keep going through Artcorp for the whole session. Now Artcorp is a nice place. It's a, you know, like all the landing places, it is quite good. But if you've gone through it 3 or 4 times, it is frustrating. So this is what we're doing. It's why at the moment I'm running, not doing the usual walking routine that I do prefer. So Triton, where are you from? We want that. Friend and now we've got to get to a certain height before we can actually do the score lock, but we've got our quantum drive hooked up and we're heading in atmosphere, and as soon as we get to the point we can, we will make the jump. And we're not rising as quickly as we would if we're going at straight 90 degrees, but this is why. So we only went up to 5,000 meters that time, and once we were at that height and we were able to do a quantum jump, because we'd spooled up the engines already, we were able to make that jump straight away and leave atmosphere really quickly. It's probably the quickest way to get out of atmosphere. I don't usually do that. I usually just take my time and take a nice leisurely enjoyable pace. Okay, we'll do the second jump. And we jump again. And I think what killed me last time is I was still going maximum speed and hadn't lowered my speed down to compensate for being in atmosphere. So my descent was too deep, or too steep, and I was going at max burn. So you see we're at 1500 meters, so we are going too low, and that's what happened last time. Slow my descent down a little bit. We take it to -5 on the nose, so we're descending by 5 degrees. We're only 700 meters off the ground, so you know we can afford a little bit of time delay here. $500 meters. Now this is a bit deceptive because the high ground is sea level, so we're actually below what would be sea level here. We're going to put our landing gear down. Lower our speed down with our place in our pickup point. There's a landing pad right in front of us, so we'll just line up with that one. And you can see we've got 2 pickups. Nice and slow. And space and control key to descend. Check the landing gear is down, yep. I sometimes find I'll press a button and it doesn't actually engage the landing gear or do whatever. Now I'm going to do what I usually do. I'll turn the engines off, a bit like when I was doing the quantum jump previously. The rotation of the moon will actually, and the winds on the moon will actually help my engines to siphon hydrogen, and so we'll turn our engines off. And my power's on, so my scoops are still actually working. Why to get out of our seat? Alright, so we've got one parcel over here. And we're actually wearing the wrong armour, so we should really be in the Novikov armour. The temperature is -70, -80. -140, and so that extreme low temperature is why we've got the 10-minute timer for getting out of that area. If I was wearing the Lamont armour or the Odyssey 2 armour, the time I would have to get out of that would be significantly less. And you see now that we're inside, our temperature is leveling. So because we know it's negative temperature, what I'm going to do is I'm going to swap spacesuits because I'm in a controlled environment here. So I go to my suit panel, I go to the undersuit. I'm wearing Pembroke at the moment. We're going to change to a Novikov. Again, we want to change our helmet, so we're going to go to a Novikov. And now if I go outside, you can see that it still hasn't switched over yet, but it'll switch over soon to the orange helmet. We'll double check that it's done. Like I said, sometimes you'll indicate that you want something to happen and it doesn't actually click through. So it looks like it's done at that time. And there you go. So now when we go outside, instead of having 9 minutes, it's not going to register that time at all. So I've just got to find the parcel we've got to pick up. And I'm doing this by pressing my F key. The F is the key we use to interact with all objects. And when the box is found, it will have an orange ring around it, or a yellow ring around it, so it's interactable. And then eventually, there it is there. Alright, now I can carry, so I click. and I pick the box up and away we go. So if I'm tracking the mission, what will happen is it will highlight the boxes as well, so I'll actually be able to work out which ones go into which location for drop-off. So if we step back outside, you can see we've still actually got that negative, but you can now see instead of 9 minutes, we've actually got 50 minutes, which is a significant increase in time. Must be really cold. And that's why we've got that time, because the temperature is minus 273 and this armor is rated for 225, or negative 225. But once we get in our ship and the door closes, the temperature begins to normalize. Okay, the other two are over here, so we'll leave exit stage right. I'm wondering if we get the sun, with now daytime, whether the temperature will increase, but it doesn't look like it. It's just a bitterly cold planet, or moon. So we'll just walk these back to the ship. And we have a 30k. So the game is about to crash, unfortunately, because the door does not seem to want to open. And that means the signals of communication to the server is not working, and so we're going to crash shortly. Which unfortunately will mean we will wake up at Arc Corp again. and there's the 30k. So once again, we are being beset by problems and issues. I think today the game is being a bit glitchy, it's hanging a bit, and so I'm going to call it there for a while. I'll probably come back a bit later and continue or add a second part to Jusatoon and Aurora 15, or I'll just actually just redo Jusatoon and an Aurora 15. Mainly because this session has been generally a bust, unfortunately. So on that note, take care, be well, like, subscribe, add a comment to the video, tell me what you think if it does go up. I'd love to hear from you guys, and yeah, and I'll see you on the other side. Take care.